Today we are exploring a book that will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about your own mind. We are diving deep into how emotions are made, The Secret Life of the Brain, by neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett. If you have ever felt like your emotions are uncontrollable, wild beasts that hijack your brain, or if you believe you can read exactly what someone else is feeling just by looking at their face, you are in for a massive paradigm shift. Grab a warm drink, settle in, and let us embark on a fascinating story about what your brain is actually doing when you feel angry, sad, joyful, or afraid. The great illusion of hardwired emotions. Let us begin our journey by looking at the classical view of human emotion. For thousands of years, from ancient philosophers to modern psychologists, society has believed a very specific story about how our feelings work. The story goes like this. Deep inside your brain, you have ancient, hardwired emotional circuits. We are told that we share these animalistic circuits with our primate ancestors. When something happens in the outside world, like a snake crossing your path or a coworker insulting you, these circuits are automatically triggered. The fear circuit fires or the anger circuit fires, and suddenly your body reacts without your permission. Your heart races, your face scrunches up, and you act out. According to this classical view, emotions are universal. It assumes that every single human being on the planet expresses happiness with a smile, sadness with a frown, and anger with a scowl. It assumes that if you travel to a remote, isolated village anywhere on Earth, the people there will recognize your facial expressions perfectly because emotions are built into our genetic code. But Lisa Feldman Barrett spent decades conducting rigorous neurological and psychological research, and she discovered something shocking. This classical story is entirely, completely wrong. There is no single anger center in the brain. There is no universal fear circuit. Furthermore, people do not universally smile when they are happy or scowl when they are angry. People often cry when they are overwhelmingly happy, and they might smile politely when they are absolutely furious. Emotions are not hardwired reactions that happen to you. They are not buried in an ancient reptilian brain. Instead, emotions are highly complex guesses that your brain constructs on the fly. You are not a passive receiver of emotions. Your brain is actively building them in real time. The brain in a dark box and the power of prediction. To understand how your brain builds an emotion, we need to understand the fundamental predicament your brain is in. Imagine being locked inside a pitch-black, completely silent vault. You cannot see anything, you cannot hear anything, and you cannot directly touch the outside world. The only way you know what is happening outside the vault is through a series of electrical signals pulsing through wires that enter the room. This is exactly the situation your brain faces every single second of your life. Your brain is trapped inside the dark, silent box of your skull. It only receives sensory information through electrical impulses from your eyes, ears, nose, and skin. Because the brain has no direct access to the outside world, it has to guess what those electrical signals mean. If your brain receives a signal that your heart is beating rapidly and your breathing has become shallow. It has to figure out why. Is it because you are running on a treadmill? Is it because you just drank too much coffee? Or is it because someone is pointing a weapon at you? To figure this out, your brain relies on past experiences. It acts as a massive prediction machine. It constantly compares the current sensory signals against everything you have ever experienced in your entire life up to this moment. It asks itself, the last time I was in a similar situation and my heart was racing like this, what happened next? Your brain does not react to the world. It predicts the world. It predicts what you will see, hear, and feel before it actually happens. These predictions are so incredibly fast and seamless that you experience them as instant reactions, but they are actually careful constructions based on your past, the body budget, and the core of all feeling. If emotions are not hardwired, what exactly are we feeling when we experience intense sadness or explosive anger? Lisa Feldman Barrett explains that beneath every complex emotion is a much simpler, continuous physical process. She calls this process your body budget. Scientifically, this is known as allostasis. Your brain has one primary job that sits above everything else: to keep you alive. To do this, it must constantly manage your bodily resources, such as water, glucose, salt, and oxygen. Just like a financial budget, your brain makes deposits and withdrawals. When you eat, sleep, and connect with loved ones, you are making deposits into your body budget. When you exercise, stress out over a deadline, or stay up late, you are making withdrawals. Your brain constantly monitors the state of this budget. You experience the status of your body budget through basic feelings known as affect. Affect is not a specific emotion. It is simply a general sense of feeling pleasant or unpleasant, and feeling high energy or low energy. When your body budget is balanced and flush with resources, you might feel pleasant and energized. When your budget is running a massive deficit because you slept poorly and skipped breakfast, you will likely feel unpleasant and sluggish. Every single person experiences affect. Babies experience affect. Even many animals experience affect. But affect alone is not an emotion. A feeling of high energy and unpleasantness is just a raw physical state. It takes a conceptual leap for that raw physical state to become the complex experience of anger or anxiety, constructing an emotion in the moment. This brings us to the core mechanism of how an emotion is actually made. An emotion is constructed when your brain uses your past experiences to make sense of your current affect within a specific situation. Let us look at a story to make this perfectly clear. Meet Sarah. Sarah is sitting at her desk at work, and suddenly she feels a massive surge in her chest. Her heart is pounding aggressively. Her hands feel slightly sweaty, and she feels a strong wave of high energy effect. Why is this happening? Well, her brain is trapped in the dark box of her skull, trying to guess what this pounding heart means based on the context of the environment. Scenario A. Sarah is about to walk into her boss's office to give a massive presentation that could determine her promotion. Her brain looks at the pounding heart combines it with the context of the high stakes meeting, looks at her past experiences with public speaking, and predicts that she is in danger of failing. Her brain constructs the concept of anxiety. Sarah feels incredibly anxious. Scenario B. Sarah is sitting at her desk, and her phone buzzes. It is a text message from a person she has been dating and falling deeply in love with. The physical sensations are exactly the same. Her heart is pounding, and her palms are sweaty. But this time, her brain combines that raw physical affect with the context of romantic interest. Her brain looks at her past experiences with romance and constructs the concept of excitement and infatuation. Sarah feels thrilled. Scenario C. Sarah is sitting at her desk, but she recently drank 3 double-shot espressos on an empty stomach. Her heart is pounding, but her brain recognizes the context of the caffeine intake. She does not feel anxious, and she does not feel excited. She just feels overly caffeinated, and perhaps a little jittery. In all 3 scenarios, the biological signals coming from her body were identical. The racing heart was just a withdrawal from her body budget. The emotion itself, the anxiety or the excitement, was not hardwired into her heart or her amygdala. It was a meaning that her brain actively created to explain her physical state. You are the architect of your emotions. Your brain takes raw ingredients, just like flour, water, and salt, and bakes them into completely different types of bread, depending on the recipe it uses. The superpower of emotional granularity. Once you realize that your brain constructs emotions using concepts and vocabulary from your past, you unlock a massive secret to mental health and resilience. It is a superpower known as emotional granularity. People with low emotional granularity use very broad, generic words to describe their feelings. When their body budget is low and they feel unpleasant, they just say, "I feel bad," or "I feel awful." When your brain only has the concept of feeling bad, it does not know how to fix the problem. Feeling bad is too vague. It is like telling a mechanic that your car sounds weird. The mechanic cannot fix the car until they have a specific diagnosis. People with high emotional granularity have a massive vocabulary of highly specific emotional concepts. Instead of just feeling bad, they can pinpoint exactly what their brain is constructing. They might say, "I am feeling a deep sense of melancholy," or "I am feeling righteous indignation," or "I am feeling completely depleted and overwhelmed." Why does this matter? Because the more precisely you can label an emotion, the better your brain can predict what to do next to rebalance your body budget. If you just feel generically angry about a situation at work, your brain might predict that you should yell at someone. But if you possess high emotional granularity, you might realize that you are not actually angry. You are feeling undervalued. The solution for feeling undervalued is to have a calm, assertive conversation about your contributions, not to throw a tantrum. By expanding your emotional vocabulary, you give your brain more tools to construct meaning. You literally rewire your brain to handle stress better. When you read books, watch insightful films, and learn new words for complex human experiences, you are upgrading the software your brain uses to build your reality. Reframing the physical body. Because emotions are highly dependent on the physical state of your body budget, Lisa Feldman Barrett, offers a revolutionary approach to handling bad moods. When we fall into a deep depression or experience a massive wave of anxiety, our modern society tells us that we have a psychological problem. We try to think our way out of the bad mood. We obsessively analyze our childhood. We overthink our relationships. And we ruminate on all the mistakes we have ever made, trying to find the psychological root cause of our pain. But if emotions are constructed from physical affect, then sometimes a bad mood is not a psychological crisis at all. Sometimes, a bad mood is simply a bankrupt body. Budget. Let us look at another example. Imagine a father, John, who comes home from a long, grueling day of physical labor. He has not eaten since noon. He slept poorly the night before, and he is slightly dehydrated. When he walks through the door, his children are being loud and chaotic. Instantly, John feels a massive wave of anger. His brain searches for a reason for this awful feeling. Because the brain is a prediction machine that loves to blame the immediate environment, it points at the loud children and constructs the concept of intense frustration. John believes he is angry because his children are misbehaving. But in reality, John's body budget is completely bankrupt. His affect is intensely negative because he is tired, hungry, and thirsty. The children are just the convenient target his brain chose to explain the physical misery. If John understands how emotions are made, he can stop the psychological spiral. Instead of yelling at his kids or questioning his abilities as a parent, he can recognize that his body budget is in the red. He can drink a glass of water, eat a healthy snack, and take a 20-minute rest. By fixing the physical deficit, the overwhelming negative affect fades away, and the constructed emotion of anger simply dissolves. You have far more control over your emotions than you realize, starting with how you treat your physical body. Sleep, nutrition, and exercise are not just good for your heart. They are the fundamental building blocks of a stable, resilient, emotional life. The responsibility of the architect. This new understanding of the brain brings a profound sense of responsibility. Under the classical view of emotion, you were a victim of your feelings. You could always blame your lizard brain or say that your anger simply took over. But the theory of constructed emotion removes that excuse. You are not a passive arena where emotional battles take place. Your brain is actively building your emotional reality every single second. This does not mean you can snap your fingers and instantly feel happy when you are grieving a terrible loss. You cannot control every single prediction your brain makes in the moment. However, you can control the experiences you expose yourself to today, which will become the predictions your brain uses tomorrow. You are the architect of your future emotions. The habits you build, the media you consume, the words you learn, and the way you care for your body, all become the raw materials your brain will use to construct your feelings next week, next month, and next year. If you constantly consume outrage-inducing news, you are training your brain to predict anger and threat. If you practice pausing, breathing, and reframing your physical sensations as excitement rather than anxiety, you are training your brain to build resilience. You have the power to curate the concepts your brain uses to interpret the world. You have the power to keep your body budget healthy. And because of that, you have the profound power to shape who you become. Wrapping up our journey through the mind, let us quickly recap the incredible journey we have taken today through the mind of Lisa Feldman Barrett and her groundbreaking research. We started by tearing down the ancient myth that emotions are hardwired, universal reactions buried deep inside our animal brains. We learned that the brain is locked in a dark box, constantly making predictions about what the outside world means. We discovered that all feeling starts with a physical body budget, leaving us with a raw sense of affect, feeling pleasant or unpleasant, energized or exhausted. We then saw how the brain constructs complex emotions by combining that physical affect with past experiences and concepts, turning a racing heart into either crippling anxiety or thrilling excitement. We explored the absolute superpower of emotional granularity, learning that expanding our emotional vocabulary gives us a much better toolkit for handling the complexities of life. And finally, we realized that we can often fix a bad emotional state simply by taking better care of our physical body budget through rest and nutrition. Understanding that your emotions are made by you and not happening to you is one of the most liberating discoveries in modern science. It frees you from the tyranny of your impulses and hands you the steering wheel of your own psychological life. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into how emotions are made. If you want to take back control of your mental life, I highly recommend picking up a copy of Lisa Feldman Barrett's brilliant book. If you found value in this story today, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments below which concept blew your mind the most. Were you surprised to learn that universal facial expressions are a myth? Let us discuss it down there. Until next time, take care of your body budget, keep expanding your emotional vocabulary, and remember that you are the ultimate architect of your own reality.